I'd like to call to order the November 16th, 2010 school board meeting. And tonight, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I've asked Angie Staley, who is a guidance counselor at Murdoch Middle School, but who will, by the end of the meeting tonight, be the assistant principal of Murdoch Middle School. She will be appointed this evening. So Angie, if you would come forward, please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we're going to move to the swearing in of two school board members, the oath of office, and we'll begin with our new school board member, Mr. Ian Vincent.
Will you raise your right hand? Repeat after me. I, Ian Vincent, do solemnly swear
I, Ian Vincent, do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of school board member
the duties of school board member
on which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ian, and welcome.
Thank you.
At this time, we would also like to have Mr. Lee Swift go to the podium and take the oath of office. Lee is not our newest member of the school board. He is our senior member. Ready? I, Lee Swift, do solemnly swear
I, Lee Swift, do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and the government of the United States
the Constitution and the government of the United States
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of school board member
the duties of school board member
on which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
At this time, we're going to move into the business part of our organizational meeting. For those of you who may be wondering why at this point I'm chairing the meeting, it is part of the responsibility of the superintendent before the board is organized to lead the business of the board. So our first part of business is to open nominations for the office of school board chairman. Nominations are now open.
Andrew Messina.
Second.
Move nominations be closed.
We have a motion by Mrs. Rendell to nominate Mrs. Messina as school board chair, and seconded by Eileen Miller. Mr. Swift has moved that the motion that the nominations be closed. Is there a second?
Second. Go ahead. Take it, Ian. Take it.
That one was mine.
All in favor of closing nominations, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Congratulations, Mrs. Messina. Do we take? We have to take a vote on the motion now.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We have a motion now for Mrs. Messina, and it's been seconded to be the board chair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Seconded. I'm sorry. All opposed, say nay. And motion carried unanimously. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Mrs. Messina. And we'll see if I can do this one right. The superintendent now opens nominations for the office of school board vice chair.
Lee Swift.
Second.
Other nominations? Is there a motion for nominations to be closed?
So moved.
By Mrs. Messina,
Second.
second by Mrs. Rendell. We have a nomination for Lee Swift as vice chair, for Mrs. Rendell, a second by Mrs. Messina, and then a motion to close nominations and a second. So we'll vote on that motion that nominations are closed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Go back to the original motion for Mr. Swift to serve as school board vice chairman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Mr. Swift is the vice chairman. Congratulations, Mr. Swift. At this time, I will pass the gavel down the table, and Mrs. Messina will assume the rest of this portion of the meeting, discussion of times and dates of future meetings.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the determination of time and day for regular board meetings. Mr. Superintendent, you have prepared for us a list of dates for the 2010-2011 school board meetings.
Yes, that is correct. And I would recommend that the dates before you are those that the board consider for our meetings next year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the list of dates for the 2010-2011 school board meetings. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the board member committee assignments. In the past, because this takes a little bit of time, we have simply by consensus agreed to do this at the next scheduled workshop. So unless there's any objection to that, Mr. Swift.
The only one I think that we're required to do tonight is the legislative liaison for FSBA.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I had that under board member comments, but we'll go ahead and do that. And then if there's no objection, all of the remainder of the board member committee liaison positions we'll discuss at the next workshop. All right, so then the one we need to discuss right now is the Florida School Boards Association legislative liaison and alternate. We need two, one for the liaison and one for the alternate. Board discussion.
I think since you did such an excellent job, Mrs. Messina, and you're up there, if we combine your job, or Mr. Swift's, because you're up at FSBA so often that we don't have to do the travel thing with you, so I'm thinking either Mrs. Messina either do a repeat, if you would not object.
You know, I'm willing to do it. However, it was my thinking that perhaps Mrs. Miller or Mr. Vincent might be interested in order. This is going to be a particularly difficult legislative session, I suspect, and it's going to require some leadership on all of our parts. So I was wondering if somebody else was interested before I, by default, pull the short straw. Anybody interested?
I don't know that I'm comfortable with that at this point.
Okay.
Just I'm not familiar enough with what it is to jump into that right now.
Okay, fair.
Mrs. Miller?
Okay, I will do that.
Mrs. Miller, you be willing to do it?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Swift, you okay with that? Any objections to Mrs. Miller serving as our FSBA legislative liaison? Seeing none. Then alternate, we need to have an alternate. I'm certainly willing to serve as the alternate if that works, unless somebody else would love to volunteer. Okay, then if there's no objection, we'll have Mrs. Miller as our FSBA legislative liaison, and I'll serve as alternate. Attorney comment. Mrs. Young, welcome tonight.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you. Board member comment. You know what? Let's start with Mr. Swift.
Well, certainly welcome to Mr. Vincent. It's nice to have you here. Now there's someone to share the abuse that I get regularly. I think that can now be, I'm looking forward to a lessening of that because of your presence. But it's going to be an exciting year, and as Mrs. Messina has alluded, it's going to be a difficult year, I think, legislatively. But I think that with the caliber of people that we have here and the contributions that we can make at the different levels, it's going to be a good year. And I look forward to working with you and with the rest of my colleagues, and I look forward to the year. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, moving by seniority, Mrs. Rendell.
Thank you. Congratulations also, Mr. Vincent and Mr. Swift, for your fifth time around. And congratulations for being selected as Chairman, Mrs. Messina, and Vice Chair, Mr. Swift. That's it for me.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller.
Yes, I would like to congratulate Ian, and you've taken over my position. I always like to say I was the youngest board member by time, but I know that it's going to be an exciting year and a good year, and I know also you're the right person for the position because you've demonstrated your priority as being focused on our students and their success. So I look forward to it. Being a fellow board member, it's going to be great.
Mr. Vincent.
Oh boy. You know, if I hear the phrase "big shoes to fill" one more time,
Yeah.
You know, I think you guys, we've all gotten to know each other pretty well, and you know that I know what I know, and I think I know what I don't know, and I
Oh, no, you don't.
oh, honey. I'm learning what I don't know. And, you know, so far the help I've gotten from Doug and Dr. Gaylor and other members of staff has been incredible. And as hard as it is to fill those shoes, I don't think I could have asked for a better group of people to sit beside me while I do it, unless we could find a way to make a sixth seat and let Sue sit up here with us. So I'm honored to be here, and thank you all so much.
Thank you. Mrs. Seifert, you'll be missed. Mr. Vincent, welcome. Glad to have you. Mr. Swift, once again, congratulations. Superintendent comment.
Well, I would like to reiterate again, congratulations, Mr. Swift, Mr. Vincent. Looking forward to not only working with you, but with the board as a whole. Again, thank you to Mrs. Seifert. Funny to see you sitting out there. And I'm with you, Mr. Vincent. I think I know what I don't know, but I'm still learning new stuff every day. So, and clearly I don't know how to run a board meeting. So, I'm
And again,
I was
You only have to do it once a year.
I was really glad to pass that gavel down to Andrea. So, but welcome.
Okay, then, there being no further business, the organizational meeting of the School Board of Charlotte County is hereby adjourned. However, the regular meeting of the School Board of Charlotte County, November the 16th, is hereby called to order. Mr. Superintendent, are there any additions or corrections to tonight's agenda?
No, ma'am, there are not.
Thank you. Reports. The first item is item CA, the Charlotte Local Education Foundation recognition. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mrs. Messina. I'm going to ask Mary Fred Clemens to come forward and make a presentation on part of the Charlotte Local Education Foundation. And school board members, if we could make our way down front, please, for both of these recommendations or recognitions.
school board members. It's my honor to introduce tonight Emily Lewis, our Charlotte Local Education Board President. And we also have several board members here with us. If you would come up, board members, Frank Bell, Chris Spears, Tyler Paddock, anybody else? And Emily will present our award tonight.
Hi, good evening. I'm Emily Lewis, president of the Charlotte Local Education Foundation. Tonight we recognize Dr. David M. Klein, past president of the Charlotte Local Education Foundation, for his years of service and dedication to public education in Charlotte County. We all know that Dr. Klein's mother was a teacher. I think it was 20,000 children that she taught to read. Okay. And his love of education began at a very early age. As a community volunteer, Dr. Klein has worked tirelessly to bring educational opportunities to others. Dr. Klein is a local ophthalmologist. Working with Dr. Mark Asparilla, he was instrumental in starting the free clinic, which is now known as the Virginia B. Andes Community Health Clinic. In fact, he'll be going there tonight after this meeting to volunteer his time to help others. Again, as an outstanding doctor in our community, he works each year with our HIV patients and is recognized for his efforts in this field. Dr. Klein has been past president of the United Way. He serves on the Charlotte Symphony Advisory Board and is vice chair of the Edison State College Foundation District Board of Trustees. For over 5 years, Dr. Klein has led the Charlotte Local Education Foundation as we presented the Teacher and Support Employee of the Year, as we began our Teacher Supply Depot, and as we expanded our Take Stock in Children mentoring and scholarship program to the current 48 students. 10 more scholarships will be added this December, and I'm very pleased to announce that. Dr. Klein has been a donor, a spokesman, and a proponent of excellence in education. I am honored to present this plaque in appreciation of Dr. Klein's contributions to the Charlotte Local Education Foundation and Charlotte County over the years.
Well, I do appreciate it very much. All I ever wanted to be was your biggest advocate in the community for public education. Horace Mann and other people who knew that education was so important to our country had it right. And I just wanted to do everything I could, whether it was the Performing Arts Center or CLEF or Take Stock or anything like that, the adapted playground. My mother did teach 1,000 kids how to read in 30 years, 29 years. Couldn't quite get to 30 of first grade teaching. And that's something she's always proud of. And I feel honored that I know all of you personally. I know a good school district when I see one. My kids went to school here, and people come in with kids and they say, well, how's the school district? I said, the best. I said, my kids went, they did the Vineland axis, Vineland, Ainger, and Lemon Bay. Along the way, they met some great principals. Mr. Hargrove, I think, and Mr. Patterson, Mr. Sullivan, and Mr. Jeffers. Now, who was before Jeffers? Mr. Strickland, and great teachers, some of whom I've had the honor of handing a plaque much like this as Teacher of the Year. They did all the grades here. They went on to really good careers. One's an oral surgeon. I like to talk about Richard. The other fellow is he's actually a maritime attorney. And it all started here. They were given the tools to go ahead and do the things they had to do. And I'm proud to tell that to anyone. I'll tell it to anyone who'll listen. And now we have a little bit of an alternative. We have the collegiate high school, but it's still an entity of Charlotte County Public Schools, something we can be proud of. I'm a firm believer in public education. Everything my family has in this material world, because of our education, our public education, everything, high school, professional school, college, that's the way to go. Horace Mann had it right. And Steph, can you help me? What's the name of the high school my father went to? The special one in, Well, maybe later on we'll think about it. But again, New York City School District had their charter schools a long, long time ago, before it was fashionable. And I saw how well my father was served there. I said, for some people it's the right thing, but I didn't need a prep school or anything like that. This was the way to go. It worked for my kids. I'm just glad to be standing here. I'm proud to know all of you. Thank you so much for the honor. It really has been great. Thanks.
this time I'd like to invite Donna Dunnicky to the podium for our next presentation.
Madam Chairwoman, school board members, Dr. Whitaker, school board attorney, Mrs. Young, and esteemed guests, thank you for this opportunity to introduce to you and recognize one of Charlotte County's finest social studies teachers. The Florida Council for the Social Studies is a professional organization of social studies educators striving to maintain and enhance the importance of social studies education in Florida. The FCSS, along with the National Council of Social Studies, sponsors annual conferences to promote public awareness about social studies education. Several educators from our Charlotte County Public Schools attended the FCSS 53rd Annual Conference in Orlando in October, and one of the highlights is the FCSS Teacher of the Year Awards Dinner, which honors outstanding teachers from each of Florida's school districts. And two very special educators were recipients this year, and it's my pleasure and my honor to introduce them, at least one of them, to you today. The FCSS Outstanding Teacher of the Year Award for Charlotte County belongs to Mr. Jeff Yingling for middle school of Port Charlotte Middle School, and Mr. Patrick Keegan for high school of Charlotte High School. Again, on behalf of the Charlotte County Public Schools, it is with great pleasure and honor that I call up Mr. Jeff Yingling, the talented and gifted teacher from Port Charlotte Middle School, and his assistant principal, Dr. Michael Desjardins, for a short presentation. Dr. Desjardins will read a short statement, and I will present a plaque of honor to honor Jeff's accomplishments. Michael?
This up a little bit. Dr. Whitaker, board members, and community members. On behalf of the students and faculty of Port Charlotte Middle School, I would like to take the opportunity to brag about Mr. Jeff Yingling, a first-class educator who just happens to be this year's secondary middle school outstanding social studies teacher of the year. I have had the pleasure of working with Mr. Yingling during the past 3 years at Port Charlotte Middle School. During this time, and all the way back to 1993, Mr. Yingling has provided a learning environment where his students encounter innovative and challenging activities on a daily basis. He promotes what I call and love to call outside-the-box thinkers. He simply gets kids to think and reason, which is the cornerstone of inquiry-based education. However, what makes Mr. Yingling such a fantastic teacher is his ability to foster positive relationships with the students while pushing them academically. Mr. Yingling produces students who are critical thinkers, which in turn, and very importantly, prepares these students for the rigors of high school. His kids are ready to learn at the high school level. His ability to inspire students helps prepare them for challenging assignments, which at times can seem overwhelming at the middle school level. In fact, Mr. Yingling has been a leader in developing innovative curriculum for the Talented and Gifted program, which has translated into high levels of success for these students during their middle school careers. Mr. Yingling is currently on the Grade 7 Curriculum Writing Committee for the implementation of the new civics curriculum. Mr. Yingling has been a long participant in the History Fair competition, and many of the students have gone on to compete at the state level. This year, he chairs the History Fair Day at Port Charlotte Middle School. Above all, Mr. Yingling consistently puts the reputation of his school as his #1 priority. As team leader, Mr. Yingling goes the extra mile by articulating with the local elementary schools and high schools to make sure that incoming 6th grade students and outgoing 8th grade students are provided with the necessary information to make smooth transitions. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Yingling for being a first-class teacher leader who truly makes a positive impact on the education of his students. Thank you, Mr. Yingling, and congratulations.
Thank you.
tonight?
No, we do not.
Then moving on to new business, the consent agenda. Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, board members, I recommend approval of the consent agenda as presented to you this evening.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented this evening. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. At this time, the November 16, 2010 regular board meeting will recess in order to hold a meeting of the Charlotte School Board Leasing Corporation to address the following items: the reorganization of the Charlotte School Board Leasing Corporation. Mr. Superintendent?
I recommend that you approve the reorganization, which states a reflection of our new board chair, vice chair configuration on the board.
Okay, I actually have the exact language that we need to read into the minutes.
If you would pass that down to me, I would be glad to do that.
Well, actually, I need a motion to do it, so
Okay.
I'll accept a motion to appoint members of the School Board of Charlotte County as ex officio board members of the corporation.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we appoint members of the School Board of Charlotte County as the ex officio board of directors of the leasing corporation. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries unanimously. The second motion that I will accept from a board member is to appoint myself as chairman and Mr. Swift as vice chairman of the corporation, and further that I should be named as president because I'm the school board chairman now, and Mr. Swift should be named as vice president because he is the vice chairman, and that Dr. Whitaker, you will be named as secretary treasurer.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we appoint myself as chairman and president, Mr. Swift as vice chairman, vice president, and Superintendent Whitaker as secretary treasurer. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Is there any other business to discuss during the leasing corporation meeting? Then if there is no objection, we will resume the regular school board meeting to discuss the action agenda items. On the action agenda, the first item is the Charlotte Local Education Foundation Board of Trustees and Officers. Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, this evening I'm recommending approval of the requested 2010-2011 Charlotte Local Education Foundation Board of Trustees and Officers as presented to the board.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2010-2011 Charlotte Local Education Foundation Board of Trustees and Officers. Is there any board discussion? Just as a note, Mr. Vinson, it looks like you were going to be the school board designee, and Dr. Whitaker, you're now the superintendent designee after this vote. So many congratulations and represent as well. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Next item is the Alton Road easement at Port Charlotte Middle School. Mr. Superintendent.
This evening I'm recommending approval of the requested permanent 10-foot easement necessary for the Charlotte County government to be able to construct and install new sidewalks on Alton Road adjacent to Port Charlotte Middle School.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the Alton Road easement at Port Charlotte Middle School. Board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is personnel action. Mr. Superintendent.
Again, this evening I do recommend approval of the personnel action list that has been given to you this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the personnel action as presented this evening. This is one of the rare times when we don't have an amendment or an addition. So, any board discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Mrs. Smith, do we have any citizens who wish to speak before the board tonight? Are there any citizens who wish to speak? Okay. Attorney comment. Mrs. Young. Okay, board member comments. You know what? I think we'll go in reverse order this time. Mr. Vincent.
I think I said it all before.
All right, Mrs. Miller.
Okay, I do also want to congratulate Andrea for being the chairwoman and Lee for the assistant chair. Also, Lee, when I think of you, I think of the Energizer Bunny. You just do a good job, and we're proud that you're still on the school board. You add a lot to it. I also would like to, I had a couple of things here. One, I went to the Port Charlotte Middle School's Veteran Recognition Assembly, and as always, you're never disappointed. They do such a great job. The speakers, the student speakers, the chorus, the band, it's outstanding. And if at all possible to make it, I'm always there. It's wonderful. Another thing is, I noticed in the Sun that one of the students, Melissa Monroe from Charlotte High School, wrote an article, and we have so much praise for our students and our teachers and that, but it says custodians are unspoken heroes at Charlotte High School. A main fundamental at Charlotte High School that we hear about is to have pride, Tarpon pride. The janitorial staff really shows that pride each and every day as they report to work at 5 a.m. and stay until their job is complete at 10 p.m. And the same people may not work these exact hours from start to finish, but they form a team and deserve recognition just as much as our best athletes. It's a fairly long article, but I thought that was so nice that some of the students at the high school recognize how important our custodians are. I have one more, two more. Michelle Ritter Elwood wrote an article in a letter to the editor, very impressed by Port Charlotte High students, and she was at the health fair that they had, and she represented Fawcett Memorial Hospital and said, I was so impressed with the students there, I felt compelled to write. All of the students we met were polite, respectful, and very nice kids. Health fairs are not always the most fun to work, but we had a great time with the students at Port Charlotte High. Charlotte County is fortunate to have such a great group of kids. Their parents and teachers have a lot to be proud of. Thanks, Pirates, for you guys are great. And just one more reminder that Do the Right Thing 2, the second annual Charlotte County School Softball Fundraiser Tournament, is going to be this Saturday. And it will be at the Carmelita Fields from 8 in the morning until 6 p.m. So if you get a chance, I understand from the people that were there last time, they had a great time. Maybe not Mr. Kiss today, but I think everyone else did. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Mrs. Rendell.
Thank you. Jen Wolf, nice article on technology in today's paper. Nice overview of what our schools are doing to use the technology in the algebra class. And you got a nice overall view of our teachers, and Chris Brest, a lot of information from him and our students' viewpoint too. So thank you very much for that. And see you all tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock at the Expo at the Event Center. You didn't know about that. See, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, right.
I'm just playing dumb.
7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, the annual holiday expo sponsored by the Charlotte County Chamber of Commerce at the Event Center. Was only the different businesses invited to it, and now the last year and the year before, I think the public is actually there too. And we had a few people coming, not many people at 7 o'clock in the morning go to the Event Center. But we'll be there at 9 o'clock. I don't know what table we are at. I know that Mrs. Seifert gave me this to be in charge of, and I checked all my information, and nothing on it tells us what table, but usually, like we always do, just walk in, look for a familiar face, and look for our tree, our skinny Christmas tree that we have parked on the table. And that's it. And happy Thanksgiving to all next week. So that's it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Swift.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. First off, congratulations to Mr. Yingling and Mr. Keegan. to fine examples of our Charlotte County teaching staff. I've known Mr. Keegan since he was in the 6th grade, and to see him move along and move up and be very successful is very gratifying. Jen, I want to thank you for not only the article yesterday, but for the article week before last on our little session out at Edison. I appreciate it very much. I think there's so much good going on in public education today that does not get expressed to the public. And as I think about the theme that I need to develop for next year as my presidency of the Florida School Board Association rolls around, that is going to be a large part of it, is making sure the public is involved and stays a part of public education, and that we keep the public in public education. Because there are many folks and many organizations out there trying to do exactly the opposite. And public education has been what has made this country strong, as Dr. Klein alluded to earlier. And we've got to focus on that. We must enhance that. We must tell our public what is happening right in public education. That's all I have tonight, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to congratulate Angie Staley on our personnel agenda, was the appointment of you as an assistant principal, so we look forward to great things from you over there. Not everyone can say they remember you as a high school student, but I can, and so we're just excited to see you moving up along the ranks there. Some exciting things happened since our last board meeting. Our Baker Center celebrated their 45th birthday, and it was attended by over 500 people. It was an amazing crowd out there. Peter versus the Wolf, I want you to know, I was with Ellen Harvey last night at a separate function, and a little girl came up to her and said, "Aren't you the lady who announced Peter versus the Wolf? It was such an exciting day. Thank you for giving us that." And it was just so great for me to hear in a separate, unrelated event somebody seek out Ellen and say, "Aren't you that lady? Thank you." So it was wonderful. Doc's Dash, I didn't get to participate, but I know Mr. Duckworth takes those things very seriously, and I know you were leading the pack down there with Doc's Dash and the fitness challenge, and someday I'll make your challenge. I promise you. This was a tough year for me. Finally, last night I did attend the Keep Charlotte Beautiful Awards ceremony, and I wanted to take a minute because I'm not sure everybody really understands and knows what that is, but Keep Charlotte Beautiful is an organization in Charlotte County that is affiliated with Keep America Beautiful, and they do a lot with recycling, road cleanups, waterway cleanups, all that kind of stuff. And on an annual basis, they hold a calendar contest, an art contest for kids. Any students can apply. Some schools take it very seriously and have more admissions than others, which is why in the calendars you'll see some schools more represented. But what they then do is they select a kindergarten winner, a first grade, a second grade, all the way up through 12th grade, 12 months out of the year. Each month gets a grade level. And then the pictures that they submitted, the art contest, are printed in a calendar. And I've been lucky to judge the calendar now for 8 years. And what happens then is these are printed by the sponsors, who are people like Waste Management, and there's a whole bevy of sponsors that I'd like to recognize. But the calendars then are given to the schools. The schools can sell the calendars for $2, and all of the money goes back to the schools. But I have free ones here because I've already given my donation for my peers up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So take one, pass them on, and enjoy your calendars. The cover actually this year was from a 9th grader at Charlotte High School. I think it's beautiful. And so if you see the Keep Charlotte Beautiful calendars around, please support the cause. Superintendent comment.
Thank you, Mrs. Messina. A number of things tonight. First of all, thanks to Port Charlotte Middle School for another wonderful Veterans Day program. It was an outstanding program. The kids are remarkable, extremely well behaved. The band and the chorus wowed everyone with their performance. The students that read were articulate. It was just an outstanding afternoon, so thanks to Port Charlotte Middle School for that. Ellen, thanks for Peter versus the Wolf, and just a terrific event for our fourth graders. I was at Thursday's presentation. The kids absolutely loved it and laughed and voted for whether they thought the wolf was guilty or not. It was in the author of Peter versus the Wolf was there that day.
Oh, great.
So the kids got to meet the author. And of course the symphony did an outstanding job. Musically, the high school drama kids from Charlotte High were just remarkable, especially the young man who played the wolf. He was just terrific. Again, if you can, support the softball teams. There are varied softball teams representing Charlotte County Public Schools at the Do the Right Thing softball tournament. If you want a good laugh, go see the district office play. You'll notice people are missing from our midst this evening, some of our key folks. They're out trying not to get hurt at their last practice before the game on Saturday. Congratulations to Mr. Yingling and Mr. Keegan for being nominated and selected as outstanding social studies teachers for their levels. They really are truly exemplary teachers. They do a remarkable job in their classroom, engage their students, hold them to high standards. It's rigorous learning, and yet in an environment of caring. So they have it all. They do just a terrific job. Also, Patrick Keegan was honored a week ago this past Sunday by the Harvard Club in Punta Gorda as the Distinguished Educator of the Year. So we'll be bringing him to you in the December board meeting for that recognition as well. Congratulations, Angie. Big step for you, and you'll be great. Just do a terrific job. And again, thanks to Dr. Gaylor and Mr. Duckworth for Doc's Dash and Master Fitness. I want you to know I could hardly walk on Sunday morning. But it's a great day. We'd like to see more next year. We had a good turnout, but not a great turnout. So we're going to beat the bushes next year and get folks to sign up. Mr. Duckworth.
Sir, if I could, let's also remember the participation of one of our high schools.
That's right. We do want to recognize the Lemon Bay boys baseball team was there in droves. And although I didn't see the finish, they said they were going to whoop up on us old folks. And while I was walking out on the course, the runners were coming back in. And one of the old folks was in the lead. Had one of the young bucks by about 50 yards. So I don't. How did that end?
When we gather together in December to make presentations, the old folks will be well represented.
Oh, okay. A hint of what's to come. We will be honoring the participants in December at the December meeting. So thank you all for participating. The money raised goes to the American Cancer Society. So great fundraiser. Thank you all. That's it.
Okay, then if there is no further business, please travel safely, and this meeting is adjourned.